up with the people? Today we're getting into part 4 of our mixing beats lesson, and that is going to be our drum bus saturation. Alright, so the goal of adding distortion to our drums is to get them thick and to get them sounding loud, and we're going to do that by adding distortion, which is extra sound, extra harmonics to our drums. Now here at the bottom section of our saturator, which today we're using Decapitator, it has 5 different flavors. Now this A is based on an Amex tape machine. This E flavor is based on an EMI channel strip, and you're gonna have to do the research to understand the characteristics of all of these, but I could briefly go through them. So the tape machine is gonna kind of give you a good low end. The channel strip is gonna give you some low end, and it's gonna give you a lot of brightness on the high end. The N, which is based on a Neve, that's going to give you a tight low end sounding, and it's going to give you a pretty warm sounding high end. So with this T is based off the thermionic culture vulture, and that's going to be good for drums. It's going to get you a really punchy a kind of punchy sound. And then P, this is based on the Pinto tubes, and basically this is going to be the most distorted one. This is almost like a guitar amp. So let's go ahead, and for this one I'm gonna start off on the A, which is the tape machine, and then I'm gonna drive it using this knob, but I'm gonna have my eyes on this meter. And what I'm gonna shoot for with my drums is I want our meter, because this meter is, I want you to imagine this plugin as its own DAW. And if you remember our lesson on clipping, understand that DAWs could be clipped. Well, this plugin, if I go into the red, it could be clipped, but all of the numbers before of that is just showing different levels of distortion that I'm getting into. So as I drive this knob, I want to be looking at this meter right here. So let's go ahead and start by driving this knob. All right, so when we got our drive set a little under 5, you could see that our meter started to get around that 10 to 7 range. That's exactly the amount of distortion I want. And you see right now I'm mixing with my eyes. And a lot of people are like, well, mix with your ears. Here, what I want you to do is mix with your eyes and your ears. We're going to do what we think looks right first, and then we're going to listen to it and like, okay, does that sound right? Yes, it does. Or no, it doesn't. So that's pretty much the concept. So let's level our drums down with adding that distortion back to the level that our drums was at, and let's see how that sounds. All right, I quickly leveled our drums down after adding all of that distortion, because that did add a lot of level to our drums. So I used our output knob to level that down. And let's give it a quick A and B. This is before our drums. This is before our distortion, I'm sorry, before our saturation. This is after we've added saturation. And I'm going to jump in and out real quick. So as you can see, adding that distortion, that saturation, added a lot of life, a lot of fatness. Just there was no real trade-off. It just made the drum sound a lot more big. Now again, we have these 5 different flavors. We don't have to deal with a tape sound. Let's go ahead and see if any of these other flavors work based off what we discussed earlier and what they're based off of. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now after browsing through them a little bit, I think I'm going to end up with my choice on the T setting, which is based on the Thermionic Culture Vulture. And really what I liked about it is it did add a more distortion to it, but it didn't add I like how the way it distorted the kick drum and the clap, to be specific, but I didn't like the way I didn't add too much distortion to that triangle, because that adding distortion to that high element can sometimes hurt your ears. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and keep it on the T section. We're going to gain stage it back, and then we're going to listen to an A-B of that. All right, so I'm going to jump in and out with the distortion. So this is before. Perfect. And as far as drums, I know you're gonna. I know a lot of people, because this is the end of the tutorial, and a lot of people are gonna be like, "Well, what about these knobs right here and this mix knob and everything?" I'm using this plugin specifically on drums for this lesson, and for drums, this is how I would use it. I would simply drive it into the distortion, gain stage it, and keep in mind of what unit I'm driving it into. Now, how we be talking about vocals or something, we might be using these knobs, or maybe one of the other knobs on this plugin. But as far as everything's concerned, this is the tutorial, and this is how you saturate your drums. Go ahead and listen to this one back and see just about how much life saturation added to the drums. And remember, everything is at the same level. We're just listening to the effect. So the drum sounding louder is at the same level. All right, like always, y'all be smooth. It's Young Rick, West Side Level. I'm gone.